Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Culture Works Livestream Series. I'm Chester Elton. This is my dear friend and co-author, Adrian Gostick. I love the salute. That is such respect.
It's a new thing. I'm trying it out.
And today we want to take 50 minutes. By the way, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you taking the time, whether you're watching us live or you're watching us in replay. Everybody's busy, and I know your time is precious. Listen, we want to talk today about 5 strategies for coaching remote and hybrid employees. And Adrian, why don't you tell us a little bit, why is that important, and why did you pick that for your wonderful Forbes article? And if you're not following Adrian on Forbes.com, start today.
Well, thanks. Yeah. No, this is, it's such an important thing now where, as we work with organizations, everybody's trying to figure out remote, hybrid, how do we bring people back and how do we get people engaged? So this is a big issue, and it merges with this idea of coaching. Some of the companies that you and I are working with, they've actually changed their managers' title to coaches. And, why are they doing that? Well, everybody needs a coach. And it's amazing how many, especially senior leaders that we work with, that have never had coaches before. But every great athlete has a coach. In fact, our good friend Mark Thompson, he works with Serena Williams. He's her business coach. And he says when she was playing, she had 4 coaches, one for nutrition, one for strength and conditioning, one for tennis. It's important to have somebody who pushes you.
Yeah, it's so funny that you bring that up because, I coached a wonderful executive from the World Bank, and of course that was our gift from the 100 coaches. And I said, do you want to be world class in your job? And she said, of course. I said, well, do you have a favorite athlete? And it was Serena Williams.
Yeah.
And I said, well, she's got all these coaches. Do you have a coach? And she said, well, no. I said, well, then you have no shot at becoming world class. And we laughed, and I coached her for 2 years, and she got promoted a couple of times. And as we do as coaches, I took total credit for her success. Why wouldn't you? And isn't it funny how coaching has changed over the years? Early in our careers, if somebody got a coach, it was sort of the last ditch effort to save their career. Now it's like, you've got a coach. How come I don't have a coach? So, and I love the point you make about, in some organizations, leaders aren't leaders. They're classified as coaches. So talk to me a little bit about a coaching culture. In your article, you talked about these 5 strategies, and the number one is developing a coaching culture. So what does that mean?
Yeah, the first one is to leverage technology in this idea of building a coaching culture. Is that not all one size fits all, and we all think, okay, every time I'm working with my remote employees, it's a Zoom call. Well,
Right.
You know what? You got to bring them in now and then. Doesn't matter if they're all around the world. Great companies invest in this. At least once a year, you have to sit face to face. Other ways, technology too. Different things work for different people. Instant messaging apps. You may use Slack or something like that, where you're online constantly and constantly reinforcing. You may pick up the phone now and then and have a walk and say, hey, let's not even get face to face. We do that all day long. Let's just talk. Go out of your office and let's both have a walk together. Even though you're 1,000 miles away from each other, use different types of technology in different ways, but find out what works best for the person that you're working with.
And you can even go old school. I remember just phoning someone. Imagine I picked up and I called, and they picked up and they said, "You're calling me?" I said, "Yeah, it's 1992." And I just want to, sometimes that works really well. Hey, rather than setting up all these links and everything, just give them a call and check in. I love that idea. We do think that it's all a Zoom world, it's all a video world, and it's not. Other people like to be, contacted in different ways. Now, you do talk about this idea of clear expectations and goals, and how important that is, that it really be clear communication. Why, again, when I'm a remote or a hybrid employee, is that key?
Because, if there's silence, what do we fill it in as employees? We fill it with worry. And so you have to, as a leader, with remote teams, with hybrid teams, you have to be more clear than you've ever been before. When you feel like you're over communicating, as we say, you're finally getting to the point where it's enough with people who are remote. So, set very clear goals, but then revisit them weekly in one-on-ones, right? The first question that a manager asks in one of these meetings is, how are you doing? What do you want to talk about? What's on your mind? Then you get to your stuff. Great leader at American Express, if you remember, she told us, she asks her remote people, what do you enjoy about your work? But also what makes you want to hit the snooze button today? And that, she says, is a great way to get people to just talk about, I'm having this interpersonal issue, or I'm, this other department, they're not giving me their work, and da, da, da. It's really a great way to get people to talk about their frustrations, and managers in many cases can help with those.
Yeah, and then you follow up with what support do you need? Once you've got that information, you can ask that question. So funny, whenever you say, how are you doing? I always think of Joey Tribbiani.
That's right. How you
From
doing?
Yeah, hey, how you doing? But for those of you that are fans or friends, and isn't it sad that dates us? It doesn't seem like that was all that long ago.
Yeah.
Talking about foster a culture of trust and accountability. We say it so often: if you don't have trust, you don't have much. But
Yeah.
but you've tied it to accountability, which often has a negative connotation. How do you flip that around?
Yeah, this is a great question because, trust is crucial within hybrid teams. And how do you build trust? Well, you do it through, again, frequent communication, but also recognizing achievements. As we know, it's gratitude. It's seeing what's being done. There's nothing that undermines trust more than when I take credit for your work as a boss, or I'm not giving you credit. So that's really foundational with trust. But then accountability. Sometimes managers, as we talk with, they're more hesitant to hold people accountable if they're remote. Because I'm not going to be there. If you work for me, I can't really tell you off. And that's how they see accountability. But no, people want to be held accountable as long as it's constructive. And, we talk about this. Our great mentor, Marshall Goldsmith, says, look, make it feed forward. Hey, Chess, you missed that deadline. Is everything going on? What can we learn from this that we can take next time to make sure we're on track? And, are there things that are coming in that are displacing what you need to be doing, et cetera? Accountability is still really important in a remote world, but a lot of managers get hesitant to hold people accountable.
Yeah, I think it was actually Forbes that did the study. What, 9 out of 10 managers were afraid to give feedback because they thought it would be taken negatively. And yet 2/3 of employees said, I don't get enough feedback. I don't know how I'm doing here. If you don't tell me, like you said, about deadlines or the quality of my work or whatever, how do I know I'm on track? So I really appreciated when you said, look, feedback and checking in, it doesn't have to be negative. And by the way, for you employees, often we think, man, my manager is constantly thinking about me and all my screw ups. Probably not. Your managers and your leaders have a lot on their plate, and they're probably not thinking about you as much as you're thinking about them. So, keep that open mind. We talk about it all the time. Assume positive intent, that we're just trying to get stuff done and move forward. Now, your fourth item on your list is one that gets a lot of play these days, and it's empathy and emotional intelligence. Why is that even more important for remote employees?
Well, there's an important book that's out, Jess, that I'd like to tell you about. It's called Anxiety at Work by a couple of brilliant authors.
Yeah. What's that about? I'm going to put that on my list. I'm going to put that on my list.
What's that about, Anxiety at Work? Yeah, it's kind of a little on the nose, but the point is, we've been writing about this now for a few years, is that it's more important when people are remote to check in, to make sure that they are doing well, because people experience sometimes profound feelings of isolation and disconnection when they are working alone. There's a higher incidence of burnout. There's incredibly higher incidences of work-life confusion, where we're constantly on 24/7, checking our phones, et cetera. So managers need to just demonstrate more empathy and emotional intelligence with remote team members. That means not only, how are you doing, those types of things, but also asking, hey, Chess, you know the team better than I do. Have you seen anybody on the team struggling? It's making sure that you're using your network to check in on people.
Yeah. It's interesting. At 1:00 today, we're actually going to launch the video book version of our book, Anxiety at Work. It's so funny you mentioned that.
1:00 Eastern, by the way.
Yes, sorry, I'm Eastern. Thank you. See, that's clear communication right there.
Exactly.
I saw what you did there. And it is so funny when you talk about the title of our book, because a guy said, Anxiety at Work. Well, what's it about? I said, well, it's about anxiety, and then, at work. So anyway, treat yourself to that. Go to litvideobooks.com. It's a great new platform. Our book was condensed down to 29 minutes, and they did a great job, didn't they, Adrian?
They did.
I had my doubts that you could take a 200-page book and make it 29 minutes, but it's fabulous. Check us out 1 o'clock Eastern for our webinar on that, and litvideobooks.com. So we've gone through foster a culture of trust and accountability, leveraging technology, establishing clear expectations and goals, empathy and emotional intelligence. The big finish is encourage continuous learning and development. And we've seen this a lot with why people stay in jobs if they can grow and develop. So flesh that out for us.
Well, this especially, those who are remote sometimes feel like the redheaded stepchildren when it comes to learning and development. They don't get to experience sometimes what people do in the office. And so you have to be able to give them relevant chances to stretch and develop, assign them a mentor. Give them chances to work on cross-functional teams, even though they may be the person on the computer screen when you're meeting. It's okay. Give them a chance to go to training sessions. Invest in them, and they're more likely going to stay with you. We do see with remote people, there's a lot of turnover. And sometimes they can be distracted by other things. Make sure they're committed to your team and your organization by treating them well. We always say, the service profit chain, it all starts with treating your employees, your associates, whatever you call your people in your team. Make sure you treat them best, because they'll treat your customers.
And that's such an important point, because a lot of people that work remote like remote because, they're maybe not that social and they've got a lot of commitments for their families and so on. The thing is, if you just leave them out there, you're more likely to lose them. And this idea of keeping curiosity high, giving them opportunities to grow and develop, like you say, different assignments, that's really engaging for people. And we've seen, particularly in the millennial generation, that opportunities to grow and have impact are top motivators. And if those are top motivators and you're satisfying those, not only are they going to be more engaged at work, to your point, they're going to stay and grow and develop with you. And isn't it interesting, just back to a previous point you made, that with the pandemic, there are still companies that haven't met together in 3 or 4 years. I was presenting just Monday with a company, and it was the first time they'd been able to get together in 4 years. And it was joyful. People, we are, at our core, social animals. And one of the things they did that you and I love so much is they took everybody to dinner. They went to Il Cortile, one of my favorite Italian restaurants in Little Italy. And, when you eat together and you engage all those 5 senses, it is so welcoming, and it tells people we care about you. We want to be together. The sights, the sounds, the taste, the smells. Exactly. It's just great.
And sometimes you engage the sixth sense if you go to a haunted restaurant. So, but that's a different thing. Yeah.
Isn't that funny? Because I know you were telling me that you were at a restaurant and you saw dead people.
Exactly. So that's really, sixth sense. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, listen, effective coaching in remote and hybrid work environments requires managers to think in new ways, was sort of your closing sentence there. And Adrian, I'll give you the last minute to wrap things up, and thank all our viewers for giving us their 15 minutes today for the Culture Works live stream. Visit us at thecultureworks.com. Hopefully you'll join us at 1 p.m. Eastern for the launch of our video book, Anxiety at Work. But Adrian, take us home.
Yeah, this is hard. We'll admit, managing remote and hybrid teams is hard, but that's the good thing is you have some job security. Managers have never been more important than in this world. Keeping people engaged, keeping them attached to the vision, the mission of the organization is a manager's job. And you get to do that in this world. So your job becomes more elevated, more important as a leader. So, find ways to set clear goals, use various means to, reach your people, emphasize, empathy and emotional intelligence, and keep your people learning. And you're going to have an engaged team for many years to come.
Absolutely. And they'll know that you're cheering for you. And that's our gratitude moment for the end. Hey, appreciate everybody tuning in. I'm Chester Elton. That's my friend Adrian Gostick. We hope you have a great day and that these tips have helped you become the leader that you want to be and your team deserves. Cheers.